right, so I'm Joshua. I'm the director of operations here at Hayovel. Mr. Dean, thanks, and it's great to be on a prayer call with all of you guys that are praying. We know that, for a lot of us, that's the most important thing we could possibly be doing is really be lifting up the situation in Israel with intense prayer. Am I coming through there, Dean? You're hearing me? We're good?
You are coming. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. And bless everybody that's taking time to pray for
So you
Israel.
said you're on Har Bracha. You're on the Mount of Blessing.
Yeah.
Is that
I've
up
been
in the
posting
north
here
of
since.
Israel?
So yeah, we're right. If you know where all the biblical, I was on a call with former ambassador David Friedman the other day, and he said, this is biblical Israel. I said, wow, to call this area, I mean, because everybody refers to it as the West Bank, but nobody understands that it's a highly neglected area people just don't understand what's happening here. And when he's on call, he said, "You mean you're talking about biblical Israel?" And right now, and this time, boy, we feel like we're in a biblical time of Israel defending itself from its enemies. And it's time to pray like we've never prayed before for Israel to be saved from their enemies. I mean, this is a really serious scenario. So yeah, so being right here in the middle of the Samaria region, it faces a lot of crazy situation. As I was saying, down south, you have a really an impossible situation. One of the most securest borders in the world. I mean, what happened there was a nightmare that should have never happened. Like, it was militarily impossible. How do you have a ragtag gang of ISIS brutes break into one of the most sophisticated areas of Israel? I mean, they knew that threat existed there. They knew it. How? It was an impossible feat. Like, how? And there's so many questions, but the fact is the world knows what happened now. It's horrific. It is an absolute massacre. What the world is continuing to hide an eye to is the area of Judea and Samaria. There's no fences between the hostile, zombie-like, horrific enemy of Israel and these Jewish communities. These Jewish communities, there's 500,000 Jews living in Judea and Samaria with no fences between, about 2 million Arabs that have the same ideology. When President Biden came over, he liked to think that the majority don't support Hamas, but the majority vote in Hamas. They have an opportunity to vote in less hostile entities, and they vote the most hostile. So no, he's wrong in that aspect. These people are voting in on a vote. They're voting in the most hostile thing they can get. And so yes, we have a very hostile. And if elections were allowed to happen here in Judea and Samaria, they would be voting in horrific, same kind of scene as we saw down south. So we have a really serious situation on our hands here in Judea and Samaria with the 500,000 Jewish people living in this area. The 25% of that 500,000 are under 14 years old. So we're talking about, these represents families, as everyone already knows that. These families, every community is filled with families. So I'm here on the Mount of Blessing. I have about 500 families that live in this area. One of the major things that's going on here is we have most of the reserves, as you guys know, have gone to the south and to the north. We have the multi-front war. This is what's happening. What's going on here in the center? We have 2 million Arabs and a bunch of not the center, right? This is not covered right now. We have very, very, very minimal supplies and military presence here. So this is a very serious situation. So when we were, and don't get me wrong, there's some here, but it's not the main focal point. And they're trying to be very strong and very tough because the fact is that there's just not that many here. We opened up, in light of all of the situation, we went to the community council leaders, the elected leaders of the 6 different regions throughout the Judea and Samaria area, and we asked them, what do you need? And our situation, we forgot to ask, what do you need up until a certain level? Maybe that would have been smart. What do you need up into $1 million? Or what do you need up into, 5 million? Well, we got the list back and it's $29 million worth of equipment. That's what they asked of us. And so, day one, we got calls telling people we need help. People, not us, we got calls from locals saying, we need help. Can you please help us? One guy called and said, hey, I have access to an airplane. If I can get an airlift, can you fill it up? And we said, I'm looking at, we're on this call. I'm like, what do you say to that? Israel's facing the most horrific scene since the Holocaust. And of course you say yes. Of course you say yes. We're going to do whatever we can. And if we need to fill up an airplane with supplies, we will fill up an airplane with supplies. So that was day one. What are we, 14 days in now? And we have spent the first 2 weeks were absolutely nonstop. This last Shabbat, I actually had a rest. Just couldn't function. We had to take a break. It was up till at least 3 a.m, most of the mornings, trying to speak with people in America, trying to get supplies, and trying to figure out a route. How do you, okay, once you get a night vision and a bulletproof vest and a helmet and a flashlight and a thermal drone, how in the heck do you get it here? I mean, that I had no idea. How do you get it to Israel? Like, well, I mean, that's not what we haven't done this before, right? So a massive, learning curve and finding people. But thank God, I'm telling you, there's been some incredible people step up to the plate. There's been and really divine connections between. Just to tell you 2 stories, my senator in Tennessee, Senator Blackburn, she's been an all-star. She's helping us. Literally, as simple as our Instagram account was taken down for no good reason. She reinstated it. She got it up running immediately. Our bank account was frozen for no good reason. She got it back and running immediately. We've had a lot of attacks like that, just random, obviously not random, but very calculated on the other side. And thank God she's been able to. We have very good friends in the right places on the state side that have been very essential to keeping the operation running. So things like that have been happening. Thank God right now, I just pulled up the page to see where we're at. We launched this, we were ready. We launched Operation Etai about a week and a half ago. Just as soon as we got everything together, we found a route to get supplies here. We said, we're opening an Operation Etai. For those of you guys, Etai is a very obscure character in the Bible, but Etai is a hero of heroes.
He's a male Ruth.
What's that?
He's a male Ruth.
Yeah. An incredible guy. He's a warrior of warriors. He comes from Gaza today. And unlike his neighbor Goliath, right, and from the same area, Gath, Etai says, no. I'm not fighting against Israel. I am fighting for Israel. He takes his men and he comes to King David. You guys remember the story now? And he tells King David, I'm with you. King David says, you shouldn't do it. Go ahead and go. This is going to be a long haul, right? Like King David's trying to tell him, if you sign with me, this is going to be a battle ahead, right? Etai tells him, I'm with you. I am with you, King David. I will fight with you. I am with you as a brother. And they join arms, and Etai becomes one of King David's head commanders of his military. And King David puts men under this non-Jew and helps him defeat the enemies of Israel in mass. This is one of his head guys. So Etai is one of David's mighty men, a non-Jewish man that decides to stand with Israel in a frontward head command way. So we said for 2,000 years, look at the atrocities that have befallen the Jewish people when they didn't have friends. And today, thank God, through the huge outpouring of love for Israel that many people have, we said now's the time to open an operation that would, Israel's not alone kind of operation, an Etai-like operation where we can grab all those from every corner of the globe that say we want to stand with Israel like Etai stood with David in his time of need when it didn't look good and when it was a bad situation. We said now is the time to raise up Etais and get it. So we started the Operation Etai, and to date, we just said, listen, let's hit the first situation. The biggest needs we know of Judea and Samaria, the people we've worked with for nearly 20 years. And those governors I've sat with, we've talked to them, and they're incredible. Their weight on their shoulders is incredibly heavy. And really, honestly, the reason why Dad's on this call, the weight on his shoulders is incredibly heavy. Pray for Dad. Pray for the team here. We feel a burden of 500,000 Jewish people on our backs right now that we have a commitment to, an unconditional commitment of love, that we will stand here. We're not going anywhere. But the reality is, we have about 250,000 hostile Arabs surrounding about 500 Jews right now, and we're in the middle of the 500 Jewish community, right? 500 families. That's a serious commitment to these people. I'm telling you, we're here. We're not moving. We're standing fast, and we do believe that God fights the wars of Israel. We're not afraid to be here, and we know that God will win the victory. Just like Ittai knew that David would win every battle he fought. We're committed. We're committed to standing with Israel unconditionally. But in the meantime, we're doing as much as we possibly can. If there's action to be made, we're making that action. From Zoom call to Zoom call to connect, we're delivering supplies as fast as we can get them in. Operation Ittai is right to the moment has raised about $1.6 million to bring in supplies in. So we're not anywhere close to 29 million, but we're pursuing that. This was the request. We will do the best that we can to reach that. On our watch, we'll have to do everything that's within our power to support and to stand behind these Jewish communities. So that's where we are active. And I know all of you guys, and everybody asks me, what can I do? I tell them, gather the people that trust you, the people that know you, the people in your sphere. Start a fundraiser, start a campaign, start a prayer gathering, do something within your community. People say, well, we want to help you. I say, well, that's fine, but people don't know, say if they don't know me personally, you're going to have to be the connect. Everybody has to take responsibility right now. It's not about an organization at this moment. It's just not. And it's much bigger than that. And so at this moment, everyone has a responsibility for their friends, their family, the people that they can gather. And this is how we're going to make a difference. The people I know and the people that are surrounding me, we're gathering on this Operation Ittai. And obviously, there's plenty of room to gather as many as we possibly can around Operation Ittai. But if somebody's like, what's Operation Ittai? I'm telling you, start something else. Be creative. Do something that your sphere of friends will believe in so much that they will give everything they possibly can to it, right? This is going to be a collective effort that all of us need to embrace with as much as we possibly can to support Israel in this incredible time of need. I can tell you stories from the home front here. One of our friends called me the other day, Batya Sela. She's from a small community with about 30 families maybe on their little hilltop. And she said, hey, any supplies? She calls me every other day. Any supplies arrived yet? I mean, still today, the shelves are empty in Israel. You can't buy anything. Nothing's here. No helmets, no vest, not even flashlights. I got a call from another friend who said, we've got 2 flashlights in the whole community. They have 2 flashlights. I'm telling you, it's an unreal situation. Everybody needs just basic stuff. And so we're trying to bring as much as we can back with Batya Sela, the mama that called me. She said, anyway, any help you're bringing in, any supplies, we need it now. She said, my 13-year-old is on watch duty right now. Her 13-year-old, because all the dads, like I told you, the dads are on guard duty, are on reserve duty. And they're pulled up to wherever they see most fit. And these communities that we've been serving for the last 20 years are literally sitting out here alone with a few soldiers around them. And then the people that didn't get called up for duty, like here in Har Bracha, we have about 30 guys that are actually left back that didn't get called up for duty. But out of 500, we have 30 left here that are on duty. So that's the situation. I hope that helps your prayers to be pointed. Obviously, this is what I'm bringing to you now is just one front. There is a multi-front situation. Obviously, the horrors of the South, even the North. There's so many families that are moving out of the North. That's horrific. If you got to up your family and move out, the center. We do have information that says that the Jordan Valley is one of the most tactically unsupported but need support areas of Israel. They don't have soldiers there. So in your prayers, pray for that area that's also Judea, Samaria is the Jordan Valley. A lot of us don't think about it, but the Jordan Valley is a point that needs a lot of prayer, needs godlike protection. We were just with the head of security yesterday for that region. So as far as Operation Itai goes, we have flights. We have about 2 pallets of equipment that's loaded right now of vests, helmets, night vision gear, flashlights, a lot of just the basics, very big time basics. And if we can get 2 or 3 of these into the hands of certain hilltops and communities, that's our focus. So we're doing that as fast as we possibly can. And time is so essential. But that's the update, Mr. Dean, from this side. As far as our team's concerned, we were running on steam, and after this amount of time, I believe the whole country is about the same. Then there's got to be some refreshing. People are weary. Too much just barrage from everywhere. The unknowns are unbelievable, and people are. I think there's certain of them that are strong, but there is a big need for refreshing. There is a massive need. We're talking about 2 weeks in, and Mr. Dean, you're still here. You feel that there's such a need. You're here, right?
Yeah, we're up.
There's a big need for refreshing. People are getting tired. I mean, the night shifts, the home fronts, the moms, they're in and out of bunkers, and I mean, it's a very intense situation. And people are strong. You move into a whole nother mindset. You move into a whole nother reality, right? You step into it, and we've recognized that we're not the same we were 2 weeks ago. We're in a totally different. We're locked into a different reality right now. So as you're praying, understand that that's all of Israel, where everybody that's on the country is in the same situation.
Yeah, well, I tell you, Joshua, thank you so much. You've given us some really pointed prayer, and I think the more we're understanding this, the more we're understanding how important fasting and praying is going to be in rallying the planet. But as you're saying, not just fasting and praying, but giving and actions, as you said. What are the various actions we can do within our own community? And it's not about our denomination. It's not about who we love, who we hate. It's one for all and all for one. And I think the words of Ittai, and the reason why I call him the male Ruth, is in 2 Samuel 15:21. He says, basically in a response to David, who's saying, hey, return, just like Niobe said, return and take your brethren back. Mercy and truth be with you. And Ittai goes, and he answered the king and said, as the Lord lives, and as my Lord, the king lives, surely in whatever place my Lord, the king shall be, whether in death or life, even there also your servant will be. Like that is like your God will be my God, your people will be my people. Where you go, I will go. Let nothing but death separate you and me. In both cases, Ruth and Hittai were both given an out. But in both cases, they said, and I think, what you just shared about Hittai was fresh revelation for me. I never saw it so much as you're sharing from the military standpoint. So I really thank you. That was really good.